Welcome to Rock Solid, the Round Rock Business Leaders Podcast. Join your host, Bryan Eisenberg, as he explores the journeys of entrepreneurs and companies across Round Rock, Texas. From startups and nonprofits to large organizations, each guest shares their passion for doing business in this thriving community. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. It's Bryan Eisenberg, and we're here with Rock Solid. I'm here with Serita Lacasse, the Executive Director of Senior Access. That's had multiple names, and I want to kind of go through that first so people can kind of get that transition, because they might have heard of you in previous versions of that name before that. And then I want to go into what you do.
Okay.
So let's talk about the background and the naming conventions, because, yeah, it's changed quite a bit.
It has changed, and I think I do this just to keep people on their toes because we seem to change every few years. We started in Round Rock as Round Rock Caregivers. So 1993, it started with Round Rock finding a niche that they needed. There was a lady that needed her parents taken care of and getting to their doctor's appointment back in the 90s. Well, there wasn't transportation then, but they had something in Austin. So she decided to get this started, and it became Round Rock Caregivers. The first ride was in 1994 with that. So that was the first name. And Round Rock actually helped Pflugerville get theirs, and we were called Pflugerville Caregivers, Round Rock Caregivers. Well, we decided that we needed to merge and figure out how we could work together. And we decided that because in 2005, the Community Impact came out, and the Community Impact put them together, Round Rock and Pflugerville. And what we were seeing was, hey, all the leaders in Round Rock and Pflugerville, they're pretty much the same, the big businesses who we were going to for others and stuff. So we decided to merge, and we decided we need another name change. And at that time, we also got a grant from Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, which they made us call ourselves Faith in Action.
Yep.
And so we became Faith in Action Senior Access at that time, and because we had to have that Faith in Action name. Well, then we went to a church one time to talk about our programs, and the pastor said, I just didn't know what ministry of this church was coming because it was Faith in Action. So we realized that's not a very good name. It doesn't really tell us what it is. So we came up with Drive a Senior, and that's still my favorite one, I have to say, because that's what we do. It
Very
makes
specific,
sense.
yep.
And so we changed, we got rid of the Faith in Action and changed to Drive a Senior. At that time, there was 10 organizations in the Austin Metroplex, and some of them fought really hard to just keep that name, and we decided it just wasn't worth spending extra money to worry about that. So we went back to Senior Access at that time. So right now we're Senior Access. We are looking at maybe going back to Driver Senior, so there might be another change, but it will be similar. So
note to editor, keep time just in case we do change names, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that if we do make that change, it will be the last one. But I say that every time, and so...
But even with the name changing, your mission and what you do has not changed.
No, our mission has been the same throughout. We've grown. We've changed a lot since 1993. 1993, we didn't have taxis. We didn't have lifts. We didn't have Ubers. A lot of transportation didn't happen. So it was all volunteers at that time. Since COVID, volunteers just haven't come back like they had previously. But we started van services too. So now we have vans on the road where we're taking people to H-E-B's, to Walmart. You might see one in the parking lot. Go say hi to them. They're great people. Our vans have become more than a ride, though. So our seniors that are going on the vans, I have one lady that gets a box of rice-a-roni every week, and that's all she gets. But she goes on the van because she gets to meet her friends.
Socialize.
Yeah, she's loving it. And our medical rides, since we started, the van rides have gone down so much that we're doing more and more van rides. So right now, our percentage of van rides are probably 78% of what the rides we're doing. And the people that need to go to the doctor, we're getting them there, but they don't have to go now to socialize. That's not your social outing as going to the doctor. I mean, no one wants to do that. It's not fun, So that has changed, but our mission is still the same. Our mission is to provide these transportation services and support services to keep people independent, to lower their social isolation, and let them age in place. Let them stay in their home as long as we want, and they want, because you're better if you're in your own home and you have your own surroundings than you are having to go to a nursing facility.
Yeah. Having a wife who has literally grown up in nursing homes, and she's worked in hospitals and rehabs and memory care and assisted living and independent 55 plus. There's nothing like your own home.
There is nothing like it. I have to say, some of the retirement homes are becoming pretty cool that they're making
And the communities,
out there.
yeah,
The
there's some beautiful
communities,
new ones that have come out.
and they're having a lot of activities. And then so I'm loving seeing that interaction between some of my seniors that are leaving this home that nobody visits them to go to some of these places. So those are pretty cool with that. Now, assisted living and nursing home, yeah, when you need the help, you need the help. I'm glad they're there. But that's not something we all strive for, that one day I'm going to be in a nursing home. We don't want that.
Rock Solid is produced and recorded at Round Rock Studio. Located right here in Round Rock, our state-of-the-art studio is built for podcasters and creatives alike. We offer multiple professionally designed podcast sets, top-notch recording gear, and a full photography studio ready for any project. Whether you're launching a new podcast or upgrading your existing one, we can help with multi-camera recording, editing, and everything you need for success. Record with us at Round Rock Studio, your local podcasting partner.
Let's talk a little bit about the social isolation because, like you, I was a former social worker as well. We know that, social isolation isn't just I'm feeling alone. There's real deep repercussions, physically, mentally, medically of this social isolation, and why this program impacts them so much.
I think I can't talk today. Social isolation is such a challenge for seniors because, you get to that place where maybe your spouse died, your kids are working, they're having kids, you're not their priority right now. They love you, and there's no doubt they love you. But sometimes when you go to your parents and you're trying to rush to go help your kids, you're going to soccer tournaments, you're going dance routines, you don't have time to spend that time. And a lot of our seniors are scared to burden their loved ones. They just don't want to call them because they know they're busy. And they become more and more into this isolation, this loneliness, this depression. Their health starts failing. They're not taking care of themselves. They're not eating. They're losing a lot of weight. They're getting more confused because if you don't use your mind, you're going to get more confused. And I've seen it with my seniors. And that's why I'm so big on our social programs, because our rides are much more than just a ride to one point to the next. But our van rides have become a family. Think about it this way. I tell people, if you give up your car, you live in these neighborhoods where people go to work and you don't see them, and then how do you get to know people? How do you talk? Where do you make your friends? You don't get out. You don't do anything. So the vans have become that connection where they sing happy birthday to each other. They make up goofy songs. Some of our vans have a week where it's your music. So you get to pick the music for the week. And so some of it's, 20s, 30s, 50s, 80s, whatever their like is. They like the movie. I can't believe I'm saying 80s, but there are seniors that like the 80s movies. And I'm getting closer to that too. But it's become a connection. We just lost, and it was very sad, we just lost one of my favorite clients. And her personality just made everybody happy. And so that's something they're all going to get to mourn together on the van because they miss her. She would bring sunglasses. She had funky sunglasses that she would wear. And every time you saw her, she had glasses with diamonds on them, or they were purple or pink or red, And so she would make you happy, and she would make you become your friend, And so they're going to have that mourning period. She just passed last night, and it was kind of a sad, we missed somebody. She was 91 years old, and she was so active and such a great person. And I think her life was better, I think, because she got to interact with my clients. And my clients are my friends right now. They're not just people that I consider a number. They're people that have made a difference and stuff. And helping them learn that people care about you and want to hear your story. And that's something I think we're failing with our seniors right now, is that we're not hearing their story. We need to know this person, Gracie, she was an old baseball player. She's 91 years old and she played baseball. And I mean, you think about it. You think of, in those days, women didn't really do that, but she played baseball. And how cool is that to hear her story, you know?
Yeah, there's unfortunately so many stories get lost. We talked about it earlier. It's a big passion for us as well. My wife didn't have a time to capture a lot of those stories, and today with all these great cameras and audio technology, like there's no reason we shouldn't be capturing their stories and just engaging with them more often. Tell me a little bit about how someone starts working with Senior Access. So if I'm an adult and I have adult parents who need some support, how would I go about doing this? What's the whole process look like?
Sure. So when somebody needs a ride, or let's say you have a parent that they can't drive anymore, they gave up their car, their reflexes are bad, or something's going on. So what you do is you call us, and you call the number at 512-310-1060, or you can email us, and you can put it on our email or our website. At that time, we put you on a list, and on that list, we have our client coordinator. She goes out and visits you because she wants to know who you are. She wants to know, do you have a cat? Do you have dogs? Do you smoke? Anything about you, so that we know, okay, maybe they're a little slower getting up on the steps. Maybe they really shouldn't use our service because they need a little more help than we can do. But we go out to make sure you're who you say you are. You can get in a ride safely. If I send a Lyft to come pick you up, you'll know that it's okay to get in that, and you'll know where you're going.
Yep.
So we want to make sure that you're safe. So once you're set up with services, then you get put in a database system, and we take our seniors' pictures every time, because if I send a volunteer out there, I want you to know who you're picking up.
Yep.
Sometimes that changes. Sometimes they put on different makeup, so you have to be careful on that one sometimes. But also during those visits, what we do is we tell them about services. So we not only tell them about how we work and how they can get on the vans and go to the doctors and go to the groceries and stuff, but we assess the situation to see, as a social worker, it's big to me to see the whole picture.
Yep.
So we're not just looking at transportation. We're seeing, do they need more help in the house? Do they need meals? Do they need whatever, are they needing their income helped a little bit? Then we make those referrals, and we have a really close connection with the different nonprofits in the area or churches in the area that might help them out. Places like your business, that's a big thing. I make that referral, I swear, every week, because I think it's a great service to be able to use. But if they just need our service, then we tell them, we encourage them to come. I always tell my senior that they're scared sometimes going on the vans. They're like, I don't know if I want to get on this bus.
Anything different.
Anything different. It's not the same. So I always encourage them. I say, don't just try once, try twice. Because the first time you're going to be nervous. The second time you're going to really feel yourself. And once they do it twice, they're there until they can't do it anymore. And but what's cool is that our van service, we actually started some social programs too. So once a month, we either are taking them somewhere special. So this month, we're going to Stonehill in Pflugerville, because my service territory is not just Round Rock. We serve Round Rock, Hutto, Pflugerville, East Austin, and Manor. So it's a pretty large area. And so we decided we're going to take them to Stonehill, and they can go eat anywhere they want in Stonehill. So I'm encouraging them to make friends and find a place, and we take them. They can go to IHOP or Chili's or whatever they want to. So that's this month. Next month, we'll have an Easter party, and it'll be at our offices at Palm Valley Lutheran Church. And we'll do an egg hunt in there and play games and socialize. And we used to provide them dinners, and we used to make the food for them. But we're finding out they want to contribute too. They want to feel like they're part of it. So we're starting to do potluck. So they make potluck. They bring their own their meal, and it's turned out great. What's happened is the vans have become a family, and so they'll say, "Okay, I'm going to bring chicken. You bring potato salad," and their whole table will be that van. And so it's like a family outing and stuff.
You hit on something that I think it's so important for us older adults to take into consideration. Something my wife says all the time. We do with our seniors, not for our seniors.
Absolutely.
Right, and so letting them cook gives them so much value.
Oh, absolutely. And I made that change about right after COVID. I think in 2021, we made a change to start a client council. And the client council is a representative or two from each of our areas.
Yep.
Because it's not about what Serita wants. I can say, oh, I think they need to do X, Y, Z, but they want to go over here. And so I want to hear their voices. And so that client council is tasked with talking to everybody on the van or everybody that they know and say, okay, what do we want to do this month? We went to Spare Time last year. They had a blast, bowling and playing games. Our funniest thing is we lost one of our clients.
No axe throwing?
No what?
No axe throwing?
No axe throwing. They didn't want to axe throw, but we lost one of our clients.
Not through axe throwing.
Not axe throwing. She got lost in a one of those machines that you sit in and you play a game.
The virtual reality.
The virtual reality. And she was so tiny that they went around and finally found her. And she was having a blast. She didn't want to leave. So, having fun, doing stuff, that's what we want to do when we're older. You still live and you still want to have a life. And I think
as long as they have access.
Yeah, and you have access. And that's why we called it Senior Access. It's our job is to give you access to your doctors, to your fun, to your groceries, everything that you need.
Are there any restrictions, like if they're on a wheelchair or something? Is anything hold them back from being able to get one of your rides?
Yes. So we do not take wheelchairs in our cars because sometimes our volunteers can't lift them. And other times, if we're using the ride shares, they won't help you.
Yep.
And so we do not take wheelchairs now. However, if you're wheelchair bound and you can get into the car independently and there's a wheelchair on the other end, then absolutely we'll take you.
Okay.
Now, our vans, you have to be able to step up 2 steps. Our drivers are very good at holding their side and making sure that they're getting up safely and stuff, but they do have to come in. Also, if somebody has so much dementia that they don't know who they are or what's going on,
the liability is just too much.
Then we don't take them. But otherwise, other than that, we can take them wherever that they need to go.
You've been in the area a long time. Obviously, you were here with your dad as well, as he aged in place. What do you think about our community compared to some of the others that you may be hearing around the country in terms of why it's such a good place for people to age in place?
Right. Well, I've lived here since 1979, just down the road from here. But so I've been here a long time and grew up here, went to middle school, high school, got away. You need to get away from places at a point. But I came back because this community cares about each other. We have a really good city. They do things to make sure that there's a lot to do no matter what age you are. We have one of the best senior centers. Baca is wonderful. Most places don't have that. We have activities downtown all the time that are free. That's important. They have a lot of kid activities, so you can come here as a young person. You can raise your children. They have great schools. The schools have really high standards. And you can stay here. You can age. They've made great retirement places for our seniors. They're popping up every day. It seems like we find a new place to go each day. The bad things with some of these retirement, they don't have transportation. So it gives us more work, but we're happy to do it. But that's a big thing that we need to start considering is that all these places that are coming up, there's one nonprofit that's helping do all this, and so it makes
in a very large area too.
It's
not a small county. It's massive.
Now I've seen so much growth. My husband and I lived here. We had a rental house behind Dell, but before Dell came. We moved to Arizona for a couple years and came back. We're like, oh my God, where's our house? Because our backyard was a field, and now it's all Dell. So the growth has been crazy here, especially since being here so long. It's not that small little town where you knew everybody, but you do if you're active. You can get involved with anything that you want to get involved with. No one's pressuring you here. And if you're somebody that likes to volunteer, likes to get involved with different projects, whether it's arts, whether it's volunteering, you can do that here. And so you don't have to go into Austin anymore, which is great. And so
nothing against Austin.
Yeah, nothing against Austin. I love Austin. I love their place, but I hate the traffic. And so here it's a lot better. And I think the support that we have from the city council and the mayor, they're great. They're always willing to help. They come to a lot of our events to celebrate our seniors. So they're seeing that there's a need for seniors. We have a good foundation with the community foundation, and they do a lot of great work for this city and surrounding cities. So that's why I stay here, and that's why I like having a business here too.
Yeah, from that perspective, we've had so many guests on the podcast talk about, how they've benefited from the community because the nonprofits will work together, the big corporate companies will help together. What do you think is the magic formula, that special sauce that's going in there that allows this community to support each other so well?
I think it's just communication. I think that people are just talking. You're meeting somebody, you meet one person, they refer you to the next person, and you talk to them and you visit, because if you get a referral from somebody and it's somebody you like and trust, you're going to want to talk to them too and see if they're going to be your friend. And, I think when Dell came in, they made a big difference. They had volunteer projects and they started giving back. They do a really cool thing where they have a pro bono day where they have some of their leaders that will help nonprofits understand a little bit more of the technical or the IT stuff, where as a social work background, that's not my best thing. I unplug the computer when it jams up, but they help, get us into that next kind of generation and stuff. So they've been very supportive there. Plus they have little groups that go around. And I think when you get to know these little groups, you get more out of it. The churches have been fabulous from the beginning. Helping all the nonprofits. We have our big fundraiser at the United Methodist Church in Round Rock, and they're so gracious to us. I mean, it's such a great place for everybody to come in. We have so much space there, and everybody feels like it doesn't matter if you're Catholic, Methodist, Baptist, whatever. Everybody's feeling at home there, and it's just a wonderful community to be able to do that in.
In a typical week, how many seniors are you serving roughly?
So each week we probably do about 350 rides a week.
Okay.
And so out of those seniors, some are duplicates. We have the same thing. Right now I just did my stats actually yesterday, so I'm very up on this. So right now we have active about 1,058 seniors that are on our list. And in January, we always send out a postcard to every senior, and that lets us know, are they still there? Did they move? Did something change? And so since January, we've had 41 that have moved out or had to go to nursing home and stuff. So we start fresh in January with a fresh thing. Each month, probably 350 to 400 seniors use us per month. So out of that 1,000, they're not using us all the time.
And to me, it sounds like there's still thousands who don't even know that you're there and could support them in small ways.
Right, absolutely. And that's what our need is for people to tell, just give awareness, just share, hey, this nonprofit can help you and we can get you out, because we are losing clients. I mean, we have that age where we do lose them sometimes. I mean, it's just our reality. We're all going to die someday, right? But there's so many people that need it, and there's so many seniors that are just staying in their house. When we see people at the grocery store, if I see somebody struggling, I'm giving them my card saying, hey, why don't you call us? We might be able to help you, because you see somebody alone and you don't want them to just feel so isolated. You want them to feel connected. So
just that small smile and reaching out can make such a difference in somebody's day.
Absolutely. And they can make such a big difference to you. I think with us, the volunteering for us is probably the most fun, because you get to really know them, because you're that driver. I always tell my men drivers, think of it yourself as driving and no one's yelling at you and they're telling you how great you are. That doesn't happen all the time when you're driving. They're so happy. I have a 26-year-old daughter, and she grew up with me. I've been doing this 24 years, so she's been on everything with me. But now she's going to be a physician. She graduates in May. But you know what she's going into?
Gerontology.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So she's going to be a geriatric doctor and stuff. And it just makes me so proud. She said, Mom, I'm so mad at you. I just don't like working with kids. I like the seniors. And she loves it. She's good at it. And she talks loud so they can hear her. And so I think it it's a great way to meet people. And I think we talked about the stories earlier. I'm telling you, people have amazing stories,
Amazing stories.
and that's why I've stayed so long. It's not because of all the crazy fundraisers and stuff like that. It's because of the seniors that I get to meet and become friends with.
Well, that's what I was about to ask you, was about the volunteers, because obviously with that many rides and that many seniors, and obviously more seniors should get to know about what you offer. If people want to volunteer, what do they do? And, what does it look like when they volunteer besides just driving?
Okay. It's the easiest way to become a volunteer because we do all our training online.
Okay.
So you go online to our website at senioraccesstx.org, and you can fill out an application. You have an online training, which will tell you about our database system. Because on our database system, you can go 24 hours on it, 24/7, and say, okay, tomorrow I had a break in my schedule from 10 to 2. I want to see if any senior needs help. You can look on there and schedule your ride. And once you become trained, we do background checks just to make sure everybody's safe. And we make sure you feel comfortable with it. Once you get trained and you get on that system, you pick up the client. You call them as soon as you take the ride, you pick it up because they worry about that. That's a big thing that they're thinking about. Who's picking me up? What's happening? So we say call them right away, but then call them that morning too, just to make sure they're still ready to go. So you go and pick them up. You can either drop them off and go do an errand. You can stay with them if you want. You can do a round trip. You can do a one-way. You can bring kids. My daughter, like I said, she went on 9,000 rides probably over her lifetime, and became a senior buddy during COVID. So she did all that stuff. But we have drivers. We have senior buddies, which is a one-on-one volunteer we started during the pandemic. And the pandemic hit us with the most vulnerable population. And so they couldn't go to the grocery store. They were telling them, stay home, don't get out, you're going to get sick. What do we know now? But they would go and shop for them and bring them their groceries. And so, but they would also become that friend for them. And I have one senior buddy pair that they go dog walking. He can't walk his dog without somebody there. So they walk their dog. That's his thing. So whatever your niche is, whatever you like to do, if you like to do IT stuff for them, some of them need help understanding how to do their iPhone.
Email.
Voicemail is a big thing. They have a hard time with that. We have people that do that. We have drivers are by far the number one. We always need drivers. But you can do it with a friend too. I had 2 retired gentlemen in Pflugerville that were best buds, and their wives kicked them out of the house during the day, and they said, y'all go do something. And so they volunteered together, and they would pick up seniors and take rides. And so that was their time to give back and get out of the house, get out of their wife's hair.
So someone like if a stay-at-home mom has their infant with them and she wants to get out and spend some time,
it's perfect. It's a perfect job because the clients love little kids and they're so good with them. And it's a great way for your kids to be around seniors and see how great they are, because you might not be around your grandparents. Everybody has moved so far away from people. You might not ever see a senior. And that's what's scary about our population a little bit, is that it's not scary. That's a bad word. It is probably the most unrecognized, because people don't think about seniors until their grandma or mom gets sick and they need to help them. And that's a shame, because a lot of these people are missing out on that. And so bringing kids is wonderful. We had Sophia. Sophia was a granddaughter of one of our, or is a granddaughter of one of our wonderful volunteers. And while she was in preschool, the grandma took care of her. And so they went on all the rides. She would come to our events. The people loved her. She made cookies with the seniors. She did all this kind of stuff. She's now in school, so she doesn't go as much, but she loves seniors because of that. And she was just a bright light that would come every time, and the seniors loved her. So absolutely, you can bring your kids, your grandkids. We also get volunteers that help in the summer. So if you know any teenagers or junior high, senior high kids that just need community service hours, they ride on our vans with us because it's so hot here in the summer. And so they help go out to the client's house and walk them back in, and they tell their stories, which is so important for kids these days, because I think some of our teens just have forgotten how to talk because they're on their social media so much and their phones. And this is giving them a way to really interact with our clients and stuff.
Awesome. Sarita, thank you so much for everything that you do for our seniors in the community. If people want to know more about either how to volunteer or to get in touch with you, what's the easiest way to get in touch with you?
The best way is through our website, and it's www.senioraccesstx.org, or just give us a call. The phone number is answered 5 days a week, and it has a good answering machine, and it's 512-310-1060. Or you can email me at Serita, and it's Serita, at senioraccesstx.org.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having us. It was my pleasure.